Good morning. You see me? Just going to get Dougie. Come here, Dougie. Up you get. Come on. Dougie. Dougie is my electus parrot. Aren't you? Right. See Dougie? Right. All right. Up you get. Up. That's a boy. Up you get. Hey, I'm Grunt. That's Oscar. All right. So, yesterday's video, I received a lot of comments, and I hope that helped you out, mate. Oscar, come here. Don't. All right, enough. Being silly. Oscar steals the remote. He always steals the remote when he can. Yeah. Right, so I got a few comments. I got quite a few, and people are, starting to open up, which is good. That's very good, right? Now Oscar wants to go out. And of course, all the animals want to do movement when I start a video. Now, all right. There was one comment, I think I read it right, that said that it was, I might have read it wrong, so I might stand corrected here, but the word was, that there was clearly a word that was used, and it was disrespectful. And if I've read it right, it went along the lines as, I think it was disrespectful of you, JB, to say that older men suffer more than a younger person. Right. That's not what I said. I have watched the video I did yesterday regarding, step back and take a breath, right? I did say there that there was stages in life. As you get older, there's things that, I'll put it this way. A 20-year-old to a 50-year-old's problems, I'm not saying they're not going to be the same, but they're definitely going to be different because there's an age gap there, right? One person has youth in front of them, right? Another one has youth past, right? Can still achieve things, but they're harder, right? Also, because of that, you're at an age where you've passed going out, or you're not past it, but you're not as frequent as going out. By that age, you'll have already got your friend base going. You may have lost friends due to illness, death, whatever it may be, right? So your friend base is might be big or small, but it's definitely not growing as, say, a person in their 20s, right? But getting back to what I meant by, and I didn't say that an older person's problem is worse than a younger person's problem. I didn't say that at all, right? And that's been, and if I've said something that was misunderstood, I'm standing here. I'm here now to correct that. What I mean is this. Yes, if you're suffering, the pain is still the same whether you're young or old, right? Pain is pain, right? The problems are not necessarily the same, but it doesn't mean the pain isn't the same, right? But knowing that you've got youth in front of you, right? And let's face it, if you're 20, there's a long road. There's 30 years there where you can make amends, change, recognise, get a grip. There's that's a fact. When you're 50 or a bit older, right? You're married, you've had kids, maybe, maybe never been married, but you're older, right? So your options are a little bit limited, right? A little bit limited, okay, in what you can do. Plus, you've also got to factor in that you're a bit set in your ways. You come from a different generation of thinking and learning, right? And how things were for your upbringing if you're 50 and plus to a 20-year-old today, right? How to go about things and that, and your friend base will be totally different. Um, Also financially, right? Um, Things like that. So I wasn't saying that someone's pain, if you're older, it's worse or it's easier, right? It's not. Pain's pain, right? I do believe though that the younger generation behind me can definitely learn a lot in regarding to from us, the older generation, right? People, my generation, we were very much a more practical generation, and that um, factually we were. Well, iPhone wasn't around, the internet wasn't around, and that and it's really kicked off since say 2000, right? So, come 2000, I was what 30, sorry, yeah, 30, right? Um, and so technology's taken off then, and it was a bit slow. So really, say 2010, technology was really hitting it off, and then we've had Instagram, TikTok, and all of that come into it, in the past 5 years or so, right? So our way of entertaining when we're young, when we were kids, and everything is totally different to a 20-year-old today, right? Um, we were allowed outside, we were trusted outside, that people trusted each other outside, stuff like that. Now children are now kept inside because of crime, abduction, rape, whatever may be out there. It's not. I will agree that it is not safe outside for young kids to just play anymore. As well as parents are very protective. Some parents have, I believe, well, I do anyway, that they protect their children in regards to playing in the dirt and climbing trees and falling out of trees and stuff like that. So our generation was very practical, and we're very thick-skinned, right? These days, what I'm finding is, as I've been asked by a 15-year-old, I gave advice there, and I'm, now this 21-year-old in California, right, that I asked if he wanted to meet up for a coffee because I didn't know where he lived, right? My response when he told me that he was in California was, well, it had better be a good coffee. I didn't say I wouldn't go, but and I hope one day we do get to meet. I really do, and that would be good. I'd love to meet. I'd really love to meet all of my subscribers, and that. But obviously, that I won't say that's impossible, but that would be very hard. I don't know what this person's suffering for. I'm very appreciative and very grateful for all the comments towards this young man in regards to reaching out to him. That's great. Um, I'm happy that you all saw that and picked up that you can talk to each other, and I'm noticing that you're reaching out to each other. That's good, and that my channel's allowing you to all talk with each other, and interact with each other through the comments, which is fantastic. It's my channel. Yes, I didn't design this channel at all. I didn't have a plan with this channel. This has just come about. I mean, my very first video on YouTube was, over 10 years ago. Yeah, over 10 years ago. And it was when I purchased my Desmo Sedici. So I was in a very different place than I am now. And then there was a big gap there. And I just started again, and I wasn't, and that's when I started again, I wasn't No, well, not even today, but I was in a very different place, very different place, and and that place is, yeah. So I'd just like to say I'm not judging or measuring people's suffering or anything like that, saying it's worse. The problems are different for people younger than myself, but it's not to say that I can't help work them out in a more practical way without technology, and that um, I do finish my, I do strongly all the time say, advocate to be nice, go and say hello to someone, go outside, go and have a bath. A bath, look, I can only talk for myself, right? And I think I need to say this again, right? If you're depression and things like that, there's people that are born with a chemical imbalance, and medication can balance them out. I'm not saying they don't suffer from depression. Of course they do, because they've got an illness there, a genetic illness, an upset, right? And it needs to be balanced out with drugs and that. I think a lot of people's depression, though, my age, and I think majority of people's depression is not a chemical imbalance. They're lost, they're confused, and something's happened trauma wise in their life by someone they've trusted, family member, partner, even trusted friends, um, or a business has gone bad, or they've lost their job. I mean, you only have to go back to 2008, 2009 with the GFC. Can you imagine what it would be like, what it was like for a lot of people back then in America? Literally leaving their job. They've lost their job. They walk away from their cars and they're going home with two tents and saying, right, just walking out of the house. People did that, and given the way the world's going today, now, we're looking at a global. Yeah, it's a big problem, as well as we've got to take on realise that we have problems on our own shores, home soil, and that's all over the world, and we're still. I don't, how can I say this without? Oh, it's just simple as this. Charity starts at home. We need to start to look after home first before we start to look after each other. So what I'm saying is this, right? As I said, take a step back, have a breath, look at your problem. You've let it out. You've made it noticed. Now you've got everyone looking. Okay. Look at how you've delivered it to the people and how their reactions are. You mightn't get the reaction. Well, you actually don't know what. You haven't said it to get a reaction. You just let it out. So listen to the reactions. Look at the reactions you've gotten after you've let it out. Right. Look at that and look at the problem you've got. Look at the problem you've let out there. What you're having a problem with, dealing with, and stuff. Think about it. Look closely at the people who are approaching you to help. Not everybody will be approaching you to help you. A lot of people like to be seen helping, but they don't. They're the ones who just want the participation awards. They don't actually. They're not trying to help you. They just want to be seen there. So there's a lot there's a lot that you still have to take in, a lot that you have to do while you're suffering to protect yourself, even though you're very vulnerable. So be aware of that. Be careful um, of people coming out of the woodwork. But I'm not saying push anyone away. You know, go back to instinct. Your gut feeling, stuff like that. But just take little steps. That's all. Don't take leaps and bounds. Leaps and bounds don't work in life. You miss things. You're leaping over things. But you need to get your feet dirty sometime. And people just don't want to. It's good to get dirty sometimes. It's good to slip over and fall over, and just to realise just how hard a fall is in life. Even if it's just a small fall, but just to hit the ground every now and again. So it also shows other people that you're willing to hit the ground and you can get back up, right? To these people who've just never hit the ground, and that it's untested on how they're going to, what's going to happen when they do fall down, how they're going to get back up again. It's like pushing a race car to the limit. You need to push it to the limit before the race, because then you know what the car can do. It's the same with boxing, anything like that. You need to be pushed to the limit before you actually get out of that ring, because once you're in that ring, there is no testing period. It's on, and you want to make sure that everything's quite solid. So within yourself, look at what you've done in life, look at what you've achieved, look at what you wanted to achieve that you may have failed in or didn't quite get, and just go over why, the house, and be understanding of this. Not everyone is going to get 100% on any score every time. So understand that, right? And understand and realize that. But that's not saying that you can't succeed in something in life or achieve something in life, no matter how small it is. My achievements in life weren't, so much with good jobs or monetary wise. My achievements were more my own achievements. Like I raced motorbikes, I achieved that on my own. I got my own sponsors. I bought my own race bike first. I was a privateer. Then I picked up small sponsors, and then I ended up getting onto a factory team. But still, when I was racing a factory team, I wasn't factory. I was only allowed to ride the bike on certain times, so I wasn't fully factory, right? I did a lot of motorbike testing, and by companies in Australia and for private companies, right, to test motorbikes to see if they were going to purchase them. I did bodybuilding, but my plan wasn't to do bodybuilding. I just went to the gym to lift weight because of the beast inside, to keep that under control. But when I was going to the gym, I didn't have a mental. I wasn't like this. I just, you know, set a goal in myself, just do something, and yeah. So all I can suggest is in this. I don't know what this person's suffering. I don't know what a lot of you are suffering. But all I can say is this: is activities are good, but make your activities simple. Don't pick an activity that's highly stressful that you've got to get right, like say model planes, very intricate thing. You might be good at that. If you are good at that and that's relax you, do it, right? All I'm saying is pick an activity that you enjoy, regardless of how stressful it is to do that activity. Okay, you enjoy it. So don't go out and pick an activity that you've not done before, that you don't know how your stress level is going to cope with it. Right? Do an activity that you do enjoy, and I would also suggest this: pick an activity that you can do on your own, like going to the gym. You can do that on your own. If you're in a bit of a bad place, you need to find yourself. So pick an activity that you can do where you can push yourself on your own in that activity with people around, but they're not involved with what you're doing, but they're just nearby. Like in a gym, if I get stuck with the weight, there's always someone there willing to help. You know, if it's going to say a sports arena and you just do sprinting and stuff like that, there's people there to warm up with, or help you stretch and things like that. Just but they're not training with you, but they're there, right? So make sure you're in an environment where there's people around you, right? So you're not isolated. So you sort of you're exposing yourself a bit, but they're not participating with you, right? But I just want to make it clear: I don't. People's pain is people's pain. You know, we all honestly can admit this to each other. We have seen people whinging and crying and stuff like that, and it's like the old saying: "You're crying over spilt milk," right? And there are some people out there that just fucking whinge and fucking piss and moan, and there's really nothing going on in their fucking life. They're just fucking attention seekers, right? I'm not saying this about anyone who's subscribed to my channel or who's left a comment. All I'm saying is in regards to that comment that was left, that disgraceful, right? I think a better word could have been used to make to, to be put across to me. I think that was a bit of a harsh word, but nevertheless, I took it on board, and I did get back to that person, and I did apologise, and I did say, yes, I agree. Um, I need to go back and make myself better understood. Okay, if you read that response that I sent back to you, okay, this one for one of the comments. But in saying that, the person that's made me do these videos that I've gotten back to, right? They're appreciative of these videos. So let's also, before you make a comment, let's do this for all of us in here, right? Let's read the majority of the comments to see where the flow's going. And that I'm not saying you can't make a comment about me to pull me up. I'm not beyond checking, and I'm not beyond checking you either, right? So if I feel that something was a bit harsh, I'll say that. I'm not saying that I didn't need to be addressed about the comment I made in regards to ages, okay? But one thing I didn't say in that video was older people suffer more than younger people. I didn't say that. I said, as you get older, opportunities and things in life just become that harder. And you can't, that's fact. Okay? I'm not saying you can't do the things, but they are harder to do. All right? If you're younger, right, I'm not saying the pain's any less, but at least you've got youth in front of you. You've got time there to make the changes, and they are, I won't say easier, but you have the time there because you're younger. At 50 to start again, right, it's harder. And it is because you don't have the time there necessarily, right? I mean, let's face it, it's stressful, and stress is the biggest killer. Stress brings on a lot of illnesses, cancer, heart attacks, strokes. They're stress related illnesses, you know. Um, and suicide. Let's not, you know, stresses brings on suicide. So all I can say is when I say take that, that's what I meant there, right? A person in their 50s that's lost something, they may have lost their wife, their children, to whatever, or their marriage is just broken down. A 20-year-old whose marriage is broken down, it's the same feeling of loss, but they have youth there to get over. They have that time to get over their loss, and they'll meet someone again. I'm not saying at 50 we won't meet someone again, but we become more reserved. We don't want to put ourselves out there. The other thing is like, how long were we married for? Given my age, my generation, most marriages have lasted 20, 30 years. So I've been married 20 years, right? Right? That's a long time to be not going out and then walking out into a new world where approaching people's totally different. Now people approach on a phone, TikTok, or a dating site. The way people talk, mannerisms, everything. The clubs are all different. You're sort of set in your ways a bit when you're older. They're baby steps again for us. So we don't have time. The time's not on our side. We're on a 20-year-old. The time is on their side, but it still hurts. So I'm not taking anyone's pain and making it less or worse. It's equal, but I'm looking at the time frame. Okay, so I just want to make that quite clear there. Right, so today I'm going up to Ararat to see a friend, Scroat, and then Scroat and I'm going to get in his side cart that he's put together, and we're going to go and see a mutual friend a good friend of Scroat's and a good friend of mine, Andrew, who suffers a bit. He just lost his son. So we're going to go and surprise him. He lives in Horsham. He doesn't know we're coming. So if he sees this video before I actually get there, he's going to know anyway. So we're coming up, Andrew, if you cop this video. So that's what I'm doing today. and that. So I'm going to ride my bike from Reservoir to Ararat, which is take me about 2 hours, and then from Ararat, I'll jump in the side cart with Scroat, right? And Dougie just pooed on me, and then we're going to go to Horsham to see Andrew, and this is what I've got them. So I've got them some undies, and it's a Harley doing a mono. See, so that's what I'll be doing today. So, as I said before, I don't know what this young man's problem is. I have asked, but it doesn't really matter. It just, you know, he has a problem. He's wanting to just hear from people. So all I can say is this, without knowing the problem, and not even if I did know the problem, I'm not a doctor. My there is no right or wrong answer with mental health on how to address it, and that there's not, or how to fix it. It's not. You know, we have to. It's like a scar. You get a cut, you're scarred. You got to learn to live with it. You can't. You know, as much as there's plastic surgery and stuff like that to get rid of scars. At the end of the day, you went through some pain. It's going to leave a scar. It's going to leave a lump, right? All I can say is just as I said before. Slowly step out. People, regardless whether you're suffering or not, always watch your step in life. Even if you're fine, you're not suffering at all. Look at the ground ahead of you before you take the step. Um, Make sure you're always walking on, you know, secure ground. But also understand this: sometimes that secure ground is going to take you through areas of cliffs and stuff like that. Dangerous ground doesn't mean there's no ground on the side of a cliff that's not secure. It is secure. You've just got to pick the right rocks. But also understand that one rock might be ready to dislodge. So be prepared. So look at your next step or your next grab hold in case that happens. Don't put all your weight into one movement. Make sure it's spread, or there's a get out. You know, if you can understand that. You know, as I'm saying, you know, I can only speak for what I've seen in my life and what I've done, and how I've overcome things and how I've watched other people overcome things and listened to a lot of people. And that I have listened to a lot of people. I've been in the job where I've been listening to a lot of people. I've had to watch a lot of people. I've had to look after a lot of people. I've watched a lot of people die. I've watched a lot of people suffer. And I've watched a lot of people achieve things, and I've stood back and I've seen them and they don't deserve it because of the way they've achieved it. But, you know, you're going to see these things in life, and sometimes it's very hard to sit back and just, you know, you look at that and, you know, but if something's wrong, just remember this: you've always got to do something to protect other people. Like me, you know, yesterday I saw this old man. He was having a hard time with some bloke. I didn't make it my business to take a side. I just didn't. I just put a stop to the argument. There's no need for it. But yeah, we all know that once you step in, you're going to know which one was in the right or the wrong because of the way that plays out. It's not hard, right? So I talk on a very practical scale. I don't talk from a book, you know, and I talk from a point of view where people didn't have opinions. My grandfather didn't have an opinion. It was just how it was. You do the right by people, look after people if they're in trouble, render assistance. You know, even though you might be suffering, you know, that's no excuse to hang your head and not look out for others. You know, you don't sit there and go, oh yeah, they fell over. I couldn't be. I'm suffering, so you know they can suffer too. That's not the right thing to do. So that's what I'm saying. You've always got to be ready to help others, even though you might be suffering. So yeah, all right. So that's my morning thing for today. I'm correcting or making it understood what I said in regards to the age gap. And I'm not limited in this just to men, it's also women as well. It's anybody, right? So You know, it just yeah, do little steps and make sure you pick a hobby or go do something that you enjoy that it gets you out with other people, but not generally mixing with them, but you're around people. And you know, do something that's not highly stressful that you if you fail you're looking at it like it's a gain anyway, you know, like pushing weights. You know, you want to push harder, but you know you mightn't be able to, so you just have to go back to the other weight until you get a bit stronger and stuff like that. You know, life is all about time, so don't waste your time. I'm not saying you can't have day downtime, and stress does eat up a lot of time, but stress is not a waste of time. If you're stressing, you need the break, right? So realise that too, okay? So on that note, go and get a pie with the whatever part of the world you're in, right? Enjoy the pie, say hello, and just keep an eye out for others as well as yourself. Don't ignore yourself, but don't ignore the rest of the world either. Okay? All right. Take care. Hey, Dougie, what do you reckon? All right. Take it easy. Bye.